For the past 17 days, I have been holed up in my office, not answering phone calls, not replying to emails. I've been like a hermit counting Mac apps, so I could sit here in this chair and comfortably tell you that there are 1,300,716 Mac apps available. And I challenge you to prove me wrong. And it can be tough to find the best apps for your Mac computer. So we're continuing the series we started with iOS and Android. And I've got what I think is the best and most useful Mac apps available. Before I jump in though, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to SetApp for sponsoring this video and making content on the channel possible. So big thank you to them. All right, so let's start with Daisy Disk. This one's not cheap, it's $9.99, but I think it's worth every penny. It's the best app just to clean files on your Mac. Over time, files start to add up. You've got residual files, you've got trails that don't go anywhere. You wanna clean up your computer. So it's gonna scan all your connected disks and actually show you a picture of what's taking up space. You can decide whether or not it's worth removing or not. And it's gonna allow you to also delete files right inside the app, which for me is a big deal. If you got a Mac with a smaller hard drive, this is gonna be a really important one, especially as your computers start to age. So this next one is our producer Ralph's, actually one of his favorite apps. It's called Unclutter. It's also $9.99. It's really cool for a couple reasons. First, if you don't like a messy desktop, any files that you want to copy, you can store in this little pull down that's going to come down. Anything you've copied, it's going to keep a record of. So if you constantly reply to emails with the same thing, like, "We don't give away free phones because you asked," you can store all those things there. It's a really helpful utility. If you find yourself opening up like a notepad or a text edit document a lot, this is helpful too because you actually type notes right inside of the app. If you want something to help you with organization, storage, and also make your desktop look a little neater, Unclutter is a really good way to go. So I think one of the best features of Windows 10 is the snap feature. Essentially, you drag a window to the side and sort of snap it in the middle so you can have two windows open side by side. And I wish that would come to Mac. I was fingers crossing it would come to Mojave, but it didn't. But fortunately, there's an app called Better Snap Tool. It's appropriately named. A little bit cheaper here at $2.99. It's gonna do what Windows 10 does, but give you a bit more control than that. It's generally just gonna give you better window management. You could snap windows to corners, sides, you can do full screen, obviously. You can also customize personal snap areas. If you find yourself doing a lot of tasks on one screen, you're constantly resizing windows, it's a really good app to check out. So while Daisy Disk is gonna do a really good job of freeing up space on your computer, I think a good pair with it is an app called App Cleaner, and this one's totally free. It's gonna help you just delete all those apps that maybe you're not using anymore. So first, it does what you'd expect. It completely deletes Mac apps. It also deletes the weird files that can kind of get associated with those apps, and it makes sure it's actually uninstalled. And it does all this stuff in a really simple UI that like anybody could figure out, even if you're new to Mac OS. All right, so the next app is definitely not necessary, but it's one I find myself using probably more than I should, as I have a lot of my conversations in just emoji form. It's called Rocket, and there's a free version and a paid version is gonna cost you $5. If you guys ever use Slack, we use it here at the office all the time. My favorite feature is to search for emojis or add an emoji. I just hit a colon and then like smile or rocket ship, and those emojis show up. I don't have to go hunt for it in some sort of sub menu. This does that, but in any window you are typing in. It's really nice. And if you decide to go for the paid version, then you can add in your own custom GIFs that you've made and search for them the same way. All right, so the next app is kind of a confusing name, but it's really useful. It's called Bartender, and it's got nothing to do with getting you sloshed. If you look at your Mac and your OS menu bar, you can't do much with it. You can hide some of the apps, but you can't really reorder them. This lets you customize the Mac OS menu bar like completely. You can reorder all icons, you can search menu items. It does a lot of those little things for you that gives you more customizations with how your computer looks that the OS itself doesn't give you. It does a lot of other stuff too. I like that I can make my own hotkeys for stuff that I do all the time. You can essentially put like folders almost in your menu bar. You can hide things and find them later. It just gives you a lot more control for what's there and what's showing. So those are the awesome things that Bartender does. The downside is it's $15, so it's not cheap. I think it's worth it, but if maybe you don't want to pay $15 for one app and you prefer to spend like maybe $10 for a ton of apps, then SetApp is going to be one of the first things you want to check out. SetApp is a new way to kind of discover over 120 best-in-class Mac apps from really high-quality developers all in a single subscription. And actually, a lot of the ones that we mentioned in this video are available in SetApp. It's a bit of a different model, but one I think you should check out, especially if you've got a Mac and you're sick of paying for new apps and then paying for in-app purchases. So all the apps are gonna be updated there. You're gonna subscribe to SetApp. You're gonna get a folder, it's gonna show up in Finder. You open it up, you're gonna see all the icons for the apps that you want to use. You can hit preview to see what they do. Double click and it'll actually install on your desktop, so they're not taking up space while they're there. And these are apps that you would ordinarily pay a lot of money for. Apps you wanna try that maybe you wouldn't pay money for and you find out that you love. So it's 10 bucks a month, so about $120 a year. You can get a 7-day free trial to try it and see if the app's something that you want. So there's like no risk. You can download it, see all the apps, be like, oh, I would pay for that, and then you're good to go. Over 800,000 people have already tried it and probably loved SetApp, and now you can do it too. So it boils down to this, it's a great way to get the latest high quality Mac apps right on your computer. Definitely think you should check out SetApp. I use it, I think you should too. Again, link to them down below. So listen, after 17 days of counting apps, I don't wanna say it, but if you guys wanna see a Windows version, I'll lock myself in there for probably 3 to 4 more weeks, and I will count all the Windows apps that are available. If you guys have some favorite Mac apps that we didn't check out, leave them in the comments down below and we can kind of share them with the audience. There's a ton of awesome things out there, both free and paid. We had a lot of fun curating this list, so let us know what you want to see the next one. Till then, I am John Rettinger from Techno Buffalo.